3downnation.com's Justin Duncan. We got a long ways to go. Not a lot of time to get there, JD, so let's jump right into it. Nice shirt, by the way. You love those Rainbow Warriors, huh? Yeah.
Dig them. Go Warriors.
Really enjoyed your call to the Vanier Cup on Saturday. Did not enjoy the ending at all, but the best team won, the Western Mustangs over the Saskatchewan Huskies, 27-21. You did great. I loved it. I watched it while at the Panthers hockey game. Was it as cold as it looked? And did the best team win in your mind?
It wasn't in the booth, and honestly, I think once the players got moving around, it was fine. There were some guys in short sleeves, and to be honest, that display of Canadian university football is one that should be celebrated. High caliber, and yes, the Huskies didn't necessarily show up, especially in the second half like we all thought they would. It was still two ultra-talented teams, student-athletes going at it on the field. The way the Canadian university football is meant to be played, it was a real hotly contested game, especially in the first half, and a tight ball game, and well played overall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't like the track, but it had to be played in December, I understand, because of COVID. So bravo to everybody, yourself included in there, because I really enjoyed the broadcast on the CBC. So quite the wild 72 hours in the CFL. Take us through your angle from Friday to Sunday, the Macbeth thing, the calls, the fight after the game in Toronto. At least they're talking about the CFL, Justin.
That's right. The publicity stunt worked to a degree. I started getting texts and calls naturally on Thursday night from people around the league going, hey, McLeod Bethel-Thompson at the Raptors game is a violation of our protocols. And then, sure enough, there was the drama there. The CFL ruled, hey, you just quarantine as long as there is between now until kickoff for the East Final. Then you can play, providing you have negative COVID tests. So that happens. The Argos are up in the first half, Roddy, and it looks like they were about to put the Ticats 21 season to bed, right? They look done and finished. Then Pappy White returns a punt, flips the Argos on their head, and the Ticats are going to the Grey Cup at home. And then afterwards, there's a lot of stuff coming out about what happened in the stands and with fans and player personnel, especially from the Argos. So that'll be sorted out by the police and MLSC and the team, it sounds like, and there could be some discipline and perhaps some charges because there was some trespassing involved in that situation.
Yeah, and then just to the West Final, man, you obviously watched it. The Bombers, come on, let's be honest. They did their best to give it away. They really did. Losing the turnover battle 6-2. I guess as their Hall of Fame broadcaster, Bob Irving, tweeted, tells you how good they are that you could do that and still win.
And it tells you how elite the defense is. 6 turnovers. The defense still only gives up 17 points. And, you know, a lot of people out there in Riderland, Roddy, especially in the media, I'm going to call some people out here. They're feeling sorry for the Riders and saying, hey, you know, they played a really good game and they tried really hard. 6 turnovers and you can't win a playoff game and you lose to your rivals in the Prairies and the Blue Bombers for a third straight year, this time in their barn. The other 2 were in Saskatchewan. Like, we got to get out of this thinking for the Riders regime. I understand Cody Fajardo is beloved out there, and that's part of the charm. And I agree with a lot of those people's sentiments. But when you get 6 turnovers in a playoff football game, you have to come out winners. In my mind, it should be Saskatchewan that is in the Grey Cup. It's not, and that is in large part, as I mentioned, due to that Blue Bombers defense. But the Riders, they got to be smarting and kicking themselves in the butt after that loss.
The term I used was inexcusable, Justin. We've been around this league a long time. This game, one turnover in a playoff game can change the game. You won by +4, and you couldn't score more than 20 points and win the game. It's inexcusable. Listen, back up the truck. You think that I missed, you said the publicity stunt worked? You trying to tell me this was cooked up by the Argos to get, or the CFL? Come on.
I don't think we can give them that much credit, but I mean, it certainly drew attention, although it didn't work in terms of the amount of fans in the stands, right? The Argos were hyping this up, saying this was going to be the largest crowd potentially ever that they had at BMO Field since they moved there. And there was like 16,000 and change. So that clearly didn't work out. And you can't use the weather as an excuse because let me tell you, going from Quebec City and to being in the GTA for that East Final, it was a totally different situation. It was balmy. The weather was ideal, especially if you're going to be out there playing football in December.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, I watched the game from an Outback Steakhouse here. It was their grand opening. It was awesome. And it looked great on television. I got to give TSN a lot of credit for that. And the game was good. It didn't disappoint. But we moved to the Grey Cup week now in Hamilton. And what's your week going to be like covering it? And maybe we'll get you on later this week for a prediction, unless you want to give one now. This is where the CFL needs to shine, and they generally always do.
That's right. Generally, Grey Cup goes really well for the league overall. We'll be doing stuff for CHCH, Sportsnet with my boy Arash Madani, and the one and only Eddie Steele, and also obviously a bunch of coverage on 3 Down Nation. So I really expect Hamilton to put on a show. They've been looking forward to this Grey Cup, albeit there's going to be the COVID-19 restrictions that aren't going to make it a true Grey Cup. But Bob Young has been waiting for this for a number of years. He wants to cash in, of course, as much as possible, but he also wants to showcase the city and the stadium and everything that's positive within Hamilton. Like for the people that aren't from the area that might be traveling in, Hamilton is really up and coming. It's getting reborn, I would say. A lot of the areas that people might look on and say, hey, maybe I didn't want to live there before. Like people are moving to the city in droves. Real estate's going up there. So a lot of positives in and around the city. And you talk about they're going to host the Grey Cup, of course, this weekend. Canada Soccer is going to play the U.S. men's soccer team. And then there's going to be an outdoor classic there in 2022 for the NHL. So they're talking about it being a sports town there. And really a large part of that is because Bob Young was so impactful in getting Tim Hortons Field built.
Yes. And like I said, I think people were asking who I thought the CFL wanted to win. And maybe you saw that I said the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but I don't think they're going to pull any levers for that to happen. However, if you see Zach Caleros at a Leaf game on the weekend, we'll see. Do you want to make a prediction or do you want to wait?
I want to wait. I want to see how the week goes, because to me, the most interesting part of this, Roddy, is in 2019, the Grey Cup, you have the heavily favored Tiger Cats who were barely beaten. Going into that game, they get upset by the underdog Blue Bombers. To me, the roles are reversed here, obviously, right? The Blue Bombers come in. They're going to be heavily favored. The Ticats were sort of a middling team. It's not quite as good as that Bombers team was in comparison in 2019, but they're going to be the underdogs. And yes, they're at home, and that could charge up some energy. But I'm really curious to see how the opening quarter goes to this football game, because it was disaster for the Ticats last time around in Calgary. They need to compose themselves. Can't afford to turn the football over. I just want to get a feel for the teams. I don't make a prediction later in the week.
You got it. Hey, wonderful update, Justin. Enjoy the week and keep up the great work. I mean it. I love the Vanier Cup. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir, Roddy. Appreciate you. Stay warm down there, eh?
You bet. 27 today. Just a little rain. Pray for me. 3 Down Nation. 3downnation.com's CFL insider, Justin Dunk. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.